Hi everyone, welcome back to Heartland Mamas.
I'm Heidi Henry.
And I'm Murri Briel. And we're coming to you from the edge of the Great Red Divide, also known as Manlandia. We'll get to that in another episode. So today what we really want to talk about is running for
Office.
But not regular office.
Running to be a delegate.
So what do you mean, a delegate, Heidi?
Well, a delegate is a person that helps choose the candidate that's going to run for office. So when we have our convention, our Democratic convention up in Wisconsin, we will have delegates there to help guide the process and help shepherd in our candidate.
So now, does that mean that I get to pick who I want, or I automatically get assigned someone?
Well, no, Murri, that's not what that means at all.
Can you explain that a little more?
You get to choose from one of the 24 candidates that are running right now. Now, between now and October 10th, I think it is. Yeah, October 10th, when we start passing petitions to become a delegate, and we'll talk about that more in a minute. The field is going to diminish greatly. You know, I'll bet you by October there probably might be 10 people left. Maybe. If we're lucky, it'll be less, because we're going to start debates next week.
Yes, next week. We're really excited. On June 26th and June 27th will be two debates. Yeah. They're going to be hosted by Savannah Guthrie and Jose Diaz-Balart. You pronounce his last name?
Ballard, yeah.
Sorry if I mispronounced the name. And that'll be the first night. Yeah. The second night will be our friend Chuck Todd and Rachel Maddow.
If you know me, you know I'm not a Chuck Todd fan.
Right, she's really not. And on both nights, we get Lester Holt.
Which is amazing. Yeah. Because he is a journalist, a true journalist. So
one of the things that, there's been a lot of talk and controversy about who gets to be in the debate. There's 29,000 candidates running for president in the Democratic primary. It's not like a record.
This is a record, and I've actually had a candidate in another race suggest to me that there should be fewer people running in a primary, and I thought that was completely wrong. The democratic process, the process we use to choose who's going to run, requires a lot of people run, as many as possible, so that we have wide open choices.
Now, I completely agree. I think that is an excellent idea. There's other races right now where there is an incumbent that needs to go,
and no one's running against them.
Or an incumbent and others are challenging them in the primary, such as in the 3rd District. Yeah. And we have these...
who's in the 3rd District, Murri?
Dan Lipinski's in the 3rd District.
And
Dan Lipinski is against the ACA. He's against women's reproductive health. He's against individual choice. Mm-hmm. He's against so many things. He's against people with disabilities. We're not even going to go there. Sorry, sidetrack. Let's go back to where we were.
Well,
my bad. I get excited when I talk about him.
I know.
This makes me so motivated.
I understand.
Is the appropriate. Anyway, the point is that we have several different candidates running in these races, and it makes a much better choice. It elevates the dialogue, typically.
Right.
We'll talk about this in another episode about some of the experiences we've had. Mm-hmm. But I have to say, even though I'm a big proponent of this,
yes,
I think 24 candidates is too many.
It is too many.
Quite honestly, the only reason that you run for office is because you think that you can do it better than somebody else.
Right. You have.
Now, that doesn't mean that you are trying to grift the system like some do better than someone else. It just means that you think that you're better than the other people. You have to, or you wouldn't do it.
You think that your message is important. And like in my case, when I ran, I knew that poor people in my district were not being heard, and are still not being heard. So that was a huge reason that I ran. Having been very poor at different times in my life, I knew that they needed a voice. I needed a voice at one of the most dire times of my life, and didn't have one. And now the people in my district still don't have that. However, that was my reason for running, and
and she knew that she could do better than what was being done, or at least she could fight to have it be better than what was happening. So we all get into the race. We're excited.
Yeah.
But at this point, there are a significant number of candidates. And here are your likely, according to NBC News of 6 p.m. this evening, the criteria. Let's start with the criteria.
Yeah.
The criteria to get into the debates is 65,000 individual donors,
Right.
a minimum of 20 states represented, and a minimum of 200 donors per state.
Right.
So that's how the breakdown goes. You have to have that in order to qualify.
It forms a consensus, or a viable candidacy.
The second thing that they're doing is they're basing it on 3 polling averages from 3 of national pollsters, who's polling at least 1% and higher. As of right now, these campaigns have said they've met that criteria, but they have until tomorrow night to meet the fundraising criteria.
Okay.
And they have until Thursday to find out about the polls. Okay. So, as of now, we have former President Joe Biden.
Uncle Joe.
Creepy Uncle Joe.
He's not creepy.
He's not. He's a great guy, and I love who he was and what he's done, but it is time that he step aside. There are far too many that are past their prime and past their time. And Joe is one of those.
Well,
I'm sorry.
And here's what I will say about Joe and about all of the candidates. Whoever wins the primary on March 17th, 2020, I will vote for. I will vote for in the general election. I am a vote blue no matter who.
Agreed.
Because we have to get rid of the orange menace.
Speaking of voting blue no matter who,
yes,
our next potential presidential candidate would be Bernie Sanders.
Who's not really a Democrat. He's an independent. And Grandpa Bernie.
Grumpy Grandpa Bernie.
I've seen him laugh a few
telling
times.
Again, there's nothing wrong with him. I think he did some really great things in the last cycle. Don't lynch us, okay?
He did some really wonderful things, and he advanced the conversation, and that is something we've been needing for a very long time.
He did a really good job,
right,
as far as that goes, and he brought attention to new ideas and a more progressive platform. But again, it's time to be done, Bernie. Go away. We have a litany of other amazing candidates
and if
out
Bernie
there.
primaries through and he's the choice, I will work really hard for Bernie.
Agreed. So then we have Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts.
Can I say woo?
Yay! We are fans of Elizabeth Warren.
Yes.
She is a mother, a true mother in every sense of the word. Mother. You need anything. And we need that. The country needs a mother right now. So we are very much in favor of a wise, well-seasoned mother
feminist
taking control of this country. Next is Senator Kamala Harris, another wonderful candidate.
Wonderful.
Absolutely love her. Then there's Senator Cory Booker. Senator Kristen Gillibrand.
There's going to be crickets here anytime now.
I'm sorry. You jumped the gun. Your campaign is just absolutely...
What are you talking about?
Gillibrand.
Oh, okay.
It's so tone deaf and trying to portray yourself as some... It's so forced. It's so not genuine. That's so not what the country needs right now.
You talked about people who are past their prime. I think there's also people that just aren't there yet.
Or should never be. I'm sorry, when she pushed Al Franken out?
No, that was Amy Klobuchar.
No, it wasn't. It was Gillibrand. Gillibrand's the one that had the lit all the torches.
Oh, yeah, well.
Klobuchar carried the pitchforks.
And neither one of those two are favorites.
No.
However,
and Amy Klobuchar is one that's probably going to run as well. She'll probably make the debates. Mayor Pete.
We like Mayor
Pete. He's so cute. He needs to wait a little while, but he's adorable.
I saw him down in Springfield last year at the Democratic Convention at the county, down in Springfield with JB, and he was the guest speaker because Joe Biden couldn't make it.
Yeah, we did. We got to see Mayor Pete.
He was awesome. And I said to the people I was sitting with, I said, one day this guy's going to be president.
Probably.
Not yet.
No, not yet. Yeah. Then we have Tulsi Gabbard.
Who?
Not a Democrat.
Yeah, I don't know.
Governor Jay Inslee. Yeah, no.
Crickets.
Julian Castro.
He's a good guy.
Beto, not my guy.
Not my guy.
No. Andrew Yang. And this is one that is interesting to me. Mm-hmm. It is Marianne Williamson. I have seen several articles talking about how she's going to have a really good showing. I don't think that by any stretch she'd be able to win.
She is
But that would be a nightmare for us as Democrats. That would be bad. I
really love her books. I've heard her speak in person a few times. She's very engaging, and she's extremely intelligent. I really, really, really like her, but I'm not sure that she's the person I would want to win the primary. However, if she primaries through, I'm working hard for her.
She'll follow her. I will too, but I can't say I'll be happy about it.
That's my rump for her.
So, anyway, this gives you a rundown, and we're going to be doing, we're hopefully going to be coming to you from the Kendall County Democrats Watch Party for one of the debates, popping in and out live. And then we will be live tweeting for the second night of debates.
Absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're going to have a good time. So we will even have some guest tweeters. Yeah. So you'll have to tune in and watch. So we talked a little bit about who's running and this big presidential primary and people throwing their hat in for Congress and everything. But there's something that you can throw your hat in for if you believe in a candidate really strongly. And that is...
You can become a delegate.
A delegate.
A delegate is somebody who goes to the convention and casts a vote for a certain candidate. We do have the primary system throughout the country, either primaries or caucuses, but at the convention in Milwaukee in 2020,
all the states come together.
All the states come together, and you get to cast that vote and hopefully advance forward somebody who's going to be our next president. How exciting!
It's very exciting.
I know people who have been delegates and they love the experience, and it's a great time to be with like-minded people. And even if you're working for a different candidate or committed to a different candidate, it's still a great opportunity to advance the issues that we need addressed.
So how do I become a delegate? Well, the Democratic Party of Illinois has given out the guidelines on how you can go ahead and become a delegate.
Right.
So the petition season starts October 10th. Mm-hmm. Let me say, if any of you are thinking about running, whether it's for precinct committeeman or county board, whatever it may be, your petitions will start earlier than those petitions do, just so that you know. Mm-hmm. So October 10th, you will gain signatures. You need 500 signatures minimum.
Yes.
Now, I can say I don't know how many people challenge delegates. If everyone hates you, maybe they challenge you. I don't know. I mean, we did, races will have challenges, but I'm not really sure how competitive the delegate race is.
I have no idea how competitive. I've never done it before. I would be a complete rookie at it. I've always wondered, what is it like? But usually the conventions are so far away, it wouldn't be realistic for me to take off that kind of time. But next year, it's in Milwaukee, which is just a few hours drive. Great place to go. Good cheese.
So it's a safe bet that I probably will not try to be a delegate. But
you won't?
I would say, I don't know, we'll see. But I would say just to be safe, you will need 750 signatures.
Right.
And those signatures have to come from within the district that you'll be representing.
In the county. So I live in LaSalle County in Illinois. And so I will need to find 500 people who will sign a piece of paper.
That are registered voters.
Registered voters that are going to commit to voting in the Democratic primary that will sign that they want me to be the delegate.
But you have 3 months to do it. And here's a pro tip. Football games. High school football games are a gold mine for signatures.
Right.
Festivals, especially if you live in rural areas where most of the people there are going to be local. When you live in the city or in suburbs and those districts cross, it's harder because there's so many people and they don't always know where they are. Mm-hmm. But in more rural areas, it's much easier.
Well, pretty much everybody knows the county boundaries. Like I know where my county boundaries are. Most people do. So,
I think you're giving most people a lot of credit.
Listen,
I'm feeling sassy tonight, guys. Sorry.
So, I'm wanting to run to be a delegate.
See, that's very cool.
So,
I'm going to tell Heidi a few more things, and then she's going to tell me some things
Sure.
about being a delegate. So some of the things that we need to know in order to become a delegate are who your candidate is, which is why we talked about the debates. And Heidi and I gave our completely unbiased opinion of who is running for office.
But whoever primaries through
We'll support.
will support.
One thing I do want to say is that, I mean, honestly, we have favorites right now. We also they've changed as these candidates have evolved. It's a long time until we get to this process to choose who your candidate is.
Right.
And the important thing is, if you want to be a delegate, it's an amazing experience, but you have to choose your candidate before the primary. You have to choose and support someone in order. And if they win, then...
Well, you have to choose before you start circulating petitions on October 10th. So you're going to have to, before October, around the 1st of October, you better make a decision and commit. And it's really important that if you've committed to a candidate, say that you love Mayor Pete and that's your guy, or Kristen Gillibrand,
So cute.
or whoever it is, make sure you get out there and volunteer and work on their campaign over the summer. They need you. And you
Absolutely.
need them. So,
But if you can't decide yet, honestly, we've given our opinions, but like I said, my personal opinion is that we're far too early. I get really irritated with people saying, oh, they're the front runner. Oh, they're the one that beat. No one is yet, okay?
I hate the polling before our debate. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just...
it's not. It's very frustrating. But the point is, you have until about the beginning of October to decide who your candidate is.
Right.
By then, there will be 3 presidential debates. We talked about the first one. There will be another set of debates in September.
Yeah.
So you'll have a chance to get to know, and some of those candidates are going to drop off of the map.
A lot, the herd is going to thin, and
My biggest piece of advice: to stay passionate, to stay
Yes.
excited, to stay motivated. Forget who you hear is going to win. Forget who you hear can beat Donald Trump. A freaking board in the middle of the Illinois River floating could beat Donald Trump right now.
I used to
okay?
say my Pomeranian could beat him, but he passed away.
Oh,
Well,
my dogs are cute enough to do that, so they could probably beat him. I don't know. No, and I'm not saying we need to take anything for granted. You know,
No.
don't throw hatred out there because of that. But what we are saying though is that get behind the person that motivates you, the person that represents your values, the person you feel can lead this country. Because too often we set ourselves up and accept average instead of asking for exceptional. And this slate of candidates is amazing.
Exceptional. Oh my gosh. You have anybody who's one of the front runners, and even some of the ones that are polling at less than 1%, are amazing people. They are people who will be able to lead, have their tuxedos fitted to them properly before they go to England, wear designer clothes that don't look like a hot mess, make decisions that don't involve having a love fest with Putin and Un, Those are huge things. Don't try to declare war on Iran, who's followed the nuclear...
Don't pull out of the nuclear deal and then try to,
Try to say that it's because they did something wrong when they didn't do anything wrong.
Or don't create imaginary tariffs and find out that your party won't back those imaginary tariffs, so you have to make up a story that Mexico is going to take care of everything.
And this is a little segue, and I know we have to watch the Heidi segues because I get on my soapbox when I segue. But like this past week, our president claimed that Mexico was going to buy all these, all this agricultural products from us, which was a lie. I have friends that are sitting on 2018 grain that just got into the fields to plant.
I was driving home on
just
Sunday night, and there was farmers in the field.
And please don't give them false hope. I mean, for God's sake, these people are these are the people that grow our food that, and being one of them, work our butts off. This is why I look like this today, because I busted my butt all day in my barn. Granted, I work with horses now instead of crops, but it's a hard life. And when you dangle that carrot out there and say, look, I just sold, 5 million pounds of carrots to Mexico, and it's a lie. Don't do that. For God's sake, these people are hanging by a thread. It was just cruel. It was a cruel, horrible thing to do, but so much of this presidency has been defined by cruel and horrible things.
So each one of these candidates is not
is worth your consideration.
Yes, I'm not going to make any judgments, nor should you, until you pick. But really, please choose who you're passionate about. They're all progressive for the most part. They're all Democrats for the most part. They all support some of the same basic principles. It's really hard to determine when we get to that, and then people start saying, "Oh, it's likability, oh."
I don't care.
No,
likability.
Who makes you willing to get up on a Saturday morning and knock 20 doors of your neighbors and say,
20?
"Hey, let's start them off soft."
I know.
We'll start them off soft.
My goal was
By January, before the primary, we'll have them knocking on 1,000.
Yeah.
You didn't hear that.
Yeah.
No, who are you gonna get up for? If it's somebody that you're like, oh yeah, if they win, or is it somebody that you're like, I want everyone to know how amazing this candidate is?
But at the
That's
same
who you should
time,
pick.
I feel very passionately about issues. I'm a very issue-driven person, and I realize that whoever primaries through is going to have a slate to run on, and that slate will be determined by a consensus. And more importantly, that slate can only move forward providing we have the senators and the Congress people to do it,
So we'll hit on those topics as well as
Yeah.
pushing our Senate. But we want to make sure that we get you what you need in order to
Oh, sure. So
be a delegate.
tell me what
Okay,
what
so
I need to do.
the beginning of October, you get called Pull a Petition.
Yes.
And what that means is it says, I, Murri Brio, am running to be a delegate for whatever district, blah, 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 division, thingamabobber that it happens to be, because they're combined, not necessarily precincts.
Small hint here. Have your petitions printed at a union shop.
Absolutely. You want to support those union brothers and sisters of ours. Have to.
And we have there is a local union print shop
In
near
every
you.
town, yeah. Or at least within 20 minutes.
Yeah. So be sure and ask. I mean, it's easy.
We'll post a link to union printers.
Yeah.
So get your petitions printed. Then you have to declare a candidate, like we talked about.
Right.
I picked Elizabeth Warren. I love Elizabeth Warren. Yay! So
But you're not going to be a
I'm not going to be a delegate, but I picked Elizabeth Warren. Then I have to go out and get 500 signatures from people in my area, registered voters that live in my area or in the district I'm representing.
Yeah,
correct.
in the county, yeah. So running that way. And 500 signatures sounds like a lot, but say for me...
Friday night, football game,
Yeah.
high school, knock 150 out, not a problem.
And you have, the other things you have is so many festivals coming up, fall festivals everywhere.
If you're in a rural area, it's amazing because most of the people are in your area.
Yeah.
As you get more in an urban area, there's a lot of crossover people, so you just have to ask if they're in the district. But it's an amazing place to meet 1,000 people and get signatures.
Absolutely.
So we recommend getting at least half of what you need over, so it would be 725, just so there's no legalities, any that might be bad. 750. No, 500 is their minimum.
You always got to have
double it.
You
Sorry,
have to
yeah.
have your overage. You have to have your
Yeah, you have
overage.
to have your overage.
And find a friend to help you petition.
She's great at it.
So,
If you want, hey, we'll make you a deal. We'll come out and help you circulate petitions.
Oh, I would
We
love
should
that.
have a contest. You'll have Heidi and Murri helping you walk petitions.
You know me. I love doing that. So I love to talk to people.
I like dogs.
My
so I
husband
like
told me
it
it was
too.
the perfect job for me when I was a candidate because I had to knock on doors and make people listen to me.
Right? Captive audience. It's awesome for those that like to talk.
I didn't make him talk to me, but
Uh-oh. January 6th. You have to bring those petition signatures.
to Springfield. So
to
road
Springfield,
trip.
Illinois road trip.
Road trip.
And your
Love Springfield.
turning in the petition will depend on your position on the ballot.
Yeah.
So if you're a last minute Lucy and decide January 4th that you want to run for delegate or Congress and put together 750 signatures in 2 days, wait till the very end. Wait until the filing time. It's your best bet.
Hey, I want to let you know, I know we have out-of-state people who watch, so you need to find out what the rules are in your state, whether you have a primary or a caucus type of choice. And so work within that. Your local county clerk, your local Democratic precinct committee person, they're the person that asked to guide you through that process in your state. We are referring to Illinois, how
Absolutely,
Illinois does things,
yeah.
because that's where we live.
See, very good point. She's a very wise woman. This is why we work well together. So, okay, wow, I turned in my 750 signatures. Oh my goodness, nobody challenged me. Heidi, what's next?
Well, what's next is you start knocking on doors. You get a little flyer. What?
Knocking on doors?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like fun.
Oh, it's a blast.
Really? Tell me about it.
Well, you get a couple friends together. You go and knock on doors, and you start with people you know. Start with your neighbors. Hello.
Family, friends.
Start with people you know. Vote. And you want to go and talk to them and work with your local Democratic Party to help you. Gather a list. Make sure you talk to the people at your local Democratic meetings or at your local.
Go to your local Democratic meetings.
Go.
Find a Democratic meeting. I am on the board of Illinois Democratic Women of Will. I love it. I'm also a PC. You don't have to be, though. Just go and get involved and get active.
I am not an elected precinct committee person. I'm appointed. And I'm appointed because there's somebody else that already has that position in my precinct. So I volunteer, and I always tell them, put me in the most rural places with the biggest barking dogs and the longest gravel driveways, because that's
where we're comfortable.
Well, I speak farmer.
Right, sure she does. So once you've spoken farmer to all your neighbors or urban city dweller, it's not just about the farm, then you go out and you ask people to vote for you and your presidential candidate. Because if your presidential candidate doesn't win, what happens?
If they don't win?
Yeah.
Well, you won't know until you go at the primary. Or at the convention, you still go. Even if your guy wasn't the top guy, right?
Different states, I believe,
are different that way. So
yeah,
you need to make sure I hate to see another repeat of 2016 with the
angry crews
stuff.
And we don't want that. No.
We don't want it.
Absolutely not.
It's to form a consensus, and we need a consensus, and we need to be on the same page. So if your person doesn't win and you don't get to go to the convention, don't worry about it. Don't sweat it.
Wait, hold that thought. Yeah. Oh my goodness, before we do that, so you vote March 17th for yourself and your buddies. Your candidate wins. Oh my goodness, Elizabeth Warren won. Heidi's going to be a delegate. That's so exciting.
Well, doesn't mean I'm for sure in.
The National Convention, there are other conventions and meetings you'll attend, but the next big one is July 13th through 16th, and that's the Democratic National Convention. And this is the thing, is that I may not run for a delegate, but my wonderful friend is running, and if she wins, and E. Warren, go E. Warren, wins, I'm going to volunteer.
Yeah, well, you can volunteer. All you have to do is go to wisdems.org and volunteer your time. They even have some paid positions, but it takes thousands and thousands of people to put one of these events on. It's so complex, and it's everything from somebody running water for people on stage to people helping register and get in,
and the amazing amount of people that you will meet.
You'll make friends forever.
I can tell you, I have such a larger base from having run for office. I know so many more people and so many more passionate people.
Wait, can I ask you something?
Sure.
Do you remember all their names?
Yeah. Like everybody at the doors? No, that was about 30,000 doors. I do not.
I remember faces. I don't always do well with names, but that's plagued me my entire life. So I apologize if we run into each other and I go, and don't feel...
You are great. Gosh, I missed you.
Well, and the thing is in the horse world,
and being parents, it sucks your brain.
Well,
motherhood literally eats your brain away.
No, this has been an
since
ongoing
ever.
thing.
Heidi's always been here.
Well, I was starting to tell you, in the horse industry, we have these huge horse shows, and everybody's dressed. You know, you're dressed up, and it's almost like a costume you're wearing. You know, with your hat and your cowboy hat or your helmet and your sparkly shirts. Anyway, go to a dinner, the awards banquet at the end of the year, and you will remember the person's horse. You will remember what they wore, but if you can't remember their names, you're one of many. It's just, it's like I was sitting in
So, if we don't remember your name, please accept our deepest apologies.
It's been an ongoing problem with me.
So we can volunteer. It might be fun to get a bus and see if we get a bunch of people interested in volunteering.
Oh my gosh.
We could get a bus and go up to Milwaukee. It's close.
Oh my gosh.
Do a couple day trip. Girls trip. Boys too. Boys can come.
Road trip.
I'll probably bring some boys. Don't get excited. They're underage. But I'll probably bring some.
Do you think
No, that's bad too. Oh my gosh. No.
You're not going to bring your kids?
No, never mind. We're just going to skip right over that. Hopefully nobody heard that. That sounded something did not sound right.
It didn't sound right. Well, and her kids are all minors.
Yeah.
Where mine are all both grown, so they're adults and they won't be coming with me because...
Oh, see, I think it would be a great experience for your kids. I make my children campaign. I make them knock doors. I make them make phone calls.
I didn't make them do it.
I made
them
just
do it. My daughter ran in our farm while I was running. My son ran a lot of the back stuff on the campaign when he wasn't working. My poor husband. You probably all saw the big guy out there at every parade decorating our horse trailer, putting up the signs. The man he's like the Energizer buddy, and he's so crippled, But God bless him, he gets out there and really works hard, so...
So we can bring our families, we can bring our friends, we can bring whoever, and maybe if that's something that you're interested in, we would love to hear about it.
Yeah.
So if you want to reach out,
locker rooms.
We're going to be doing some exciting things coming up. Like I said, we're going to do some live stuff. We're going to do tweeting. Like us at Heartland Mamas, MAMAS, on Twitter. Follow us. Our RSS feed will be up very soon.
Yeah, you can see us on Facebook.
We'll be on iPod, both. iTunes. And it's not going to be that any longer. I know.
Has an Android. I have an iPhone. So
what can I say? Come on, it's like 10 o'clock at night, and we're talking, and you're still listening to us. Anyway, please reach out. Let us know how you're feeling, and we would love to hear from you.
Any subjects you'd like covered? We do have some guests coming in. Our
studio, and we'll be getting those up soon.
Yeah, our studio is super small, so we're trying to figure out how to fit guests in.
Yeah. Have a wonderful week, and we will talk to you soon. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a nice night, day, whatever time you're listening to this.
Bye.
Bye.